There's a thought that sits in the back of your mind after you've been passed over for a promotion. Maybe I'm just not good enough. Maybe they saw something in the other person that they didn't see in me. Maybe I'm not as capable as I thought I was. I want to address that thought directly today because it's one of the most damaging beliefs a professional can carry. And in most cases, it's simply not true. So being passed over for promotion is one of the most deflating experiences in a professional's career. You've worked hard, you've delivered, you've given time, energy and commitment to the job, and then someone else gets the opportunity you were counting on. The first question almost everyone asks is the same. What's wrong with me? And that question, as natural as it is, sends you in completely the wrong direction. Because the answer to why you were passed over is almost never about your capability. It's about something else entirely. And once you understand what that something else is, you can actually do something about it. Here's how the story usually goes inside someone's head after they've been overlooked. They tell themselves they weren't ready, or that the other person was simply better, or the decision makers don't value what they bring, or that no matter how hard they try, it won't be enough. Now, each of those stories leads to the same place: disengagement, resentment, a quiet decision to stop trying as hard. Or worse, a decision to leave an organisation without ever understanding why things didn't work out. I've seen it happen countless times over my career. Talented people who withdrew because they drew the wrong conclusion from a painful experience. And the tragedy is that the conclusion was wrong. Not in every case, but in most of them. So, if it wasn't about capability, what was it about? In most cases, it comes down to one thing. The people making the decision didn't have a clear enough picture of what you were capable of. Not because you weren't capable, but because the picture was never built. So think about how promotion decisions actually get made. A senior leader or a small group of senior leaders sits down and discusses who is ready for the next step. They go around the table, names come up, people share their impressions. And in that room, you're only as strong as the impression you've left on the people in it. So if the people in that room don't know you well enough, don't have specific examples of your thinking and your impact, don't have a strong enough mental image of you in a bigger role, your name gets passed over. Not because you weren't good enough, because your capability wasn't visible enough to the people who needed to see it. That is a completely different problem, and it has a completely different solution. So this is the reframe I want you to take away today. Stop asking what's wrong with me and start asking who needs a clearer picture of what I'm capable of. Now those two questions lead to entirely different places. The first question sends you inward. It erodes your confidence. It makes you doubt the very thing that is actually your greatest asset, which is your experience, your judgment, and your ability to deliver. The second question sends you outward. It gives you something concrete to work on. It shifts the focus from a perceived personal failing to a communication visibility gap that you have the power to close. I've worked with professionals at every level over a long career, and the ones who recovered fastest from being passed over were not the ones who worked harder afterwards. They were the ones who got smarter about how they were being perceived. They stopped waiting to be discovered. They started taking deliberate steps to make sure the right people understood their value. That shift is everything. Now, here's the part that surprises most people. The professionals who struggle most with visibility are often the most capable ones in the room. And there's a reason for that. Because highly capable people tend to believe their work speaks for itself. They've built their identity around being good at what they do. They take pride in their output, and asking for recognition or drawing attention to their achievements feels uncomfortable. It feels like bragging, it feels beneath them, so they don't do it. They keep delivering, they keep raising the bar, and they keep waiting for someone above them to finally connect the dots. But the dots don't get connected themselves. Nobody in a busy organisation is sitting back and carefully cataloguing your contributions. Your manager has their own pressures, their manager has theirs. The higher you go, the less anyone is watching closely enough to see the full picture of what you're doing. Now, that's not a criticism of anyone, it's just how organisations work. Which means the responsibility for making your capability visible sits with you. Not with your manager, not with the organisation, with you. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, it starts with a simple audit. Think about the 3 or 4 people above you who would be involved in a promotion discussion about you. How well do they know you? Not your name, not your job title, but you. Your thinking, your judgment, the specific things you've delivered and how you deliver them. Be honest with yourself. If the answer is not well enough, that's not a reflection of your ability, it's a gap in your communication strategy. And gaps can be closed. So start looking for natural opportunities to let your thinking be seen. In meetings, in project updates, in conversations with senior leaders. Not by talking about yourself, but by contributing in ways that demonstrate your judgment and your perspective. Start framing your results in terms that matter at a senior level. Not just what you did, but what it meant for the business. What problem it solved, what risk it reduced, what opportunity it created. And start building relationships with the people who matter to your future, not just the people you work with every day. Now, none of this is manipulation, none of it is politics. It's taking responsibility for your own career, and it's one of the most important things you'll ever do. Now, being passed over hurts. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But I want you to hear this clearly. It does not mean you weren't good enough. In most cases, it means the right people didn't have a clear enough picture of how good you actually are. Now, that is something you can change. You weren't overlooked because you lacked ability. You were overlooked because your ability wasn't visible to the people who needed to see it. And visibility is a skill. It can be learned, it can be built, and once you understand how it works, you will never leave your career to chance again. Now, if today's message connected with something you've experienced, I'd really like to hear about it. So leave a comment below and tell me. Have you ever been passed over for something and later realised it had nothing to do with your ability? What did you learn from it? And if you're finding value in these videos, please hit the subscribe button, because every week I'm giving you the practical tools and the honest perspective that most people in your career never get. Your capability is not in question. It's time to make sure the right people know it too.